Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Saturday and another great moment here at Pink Fresh Studio. It's me, your host, Jeff Lindberg of the Craft Hour. One of my favorite parts of the month is to be able to spend it with you. And boy, do we have an exciting reason to be together this month. And that is that Pink Fresh Studio has introduced 24 new inks. Come on, that's going to be exciting, and it's going to be a prominent part of today's show. So glad to have you join us. Again, I'm your host, Jeff Lindberg. Make sure that you share that you're watching the show. Today's special guest and myself are going to be trying some fun new techniques, ones that you probably haven't brushed off for a while. And speaking of brush, you'll need your watercolor brush because today we'll be watercoloring with the brand new inks from Pink Fresh Studio. So glad that you're all here. Hi, Carol. We can't do a show without you. So glad to have you join us. Cheryl is here. Debbie. Hi, Jamie Green. We're so glad that you're here as well. And Jamie brings up a good point. The ink cases. I got to tell you, we have a big surprise for you. We're going to be handing out 2 sets of ink cases during today's show to store all of those inks that I hope that you're going to go and purchase. And while you have a moment, don't forget to say hi to our moderator in the sky, Heather Hoffman, who joins us, taking care of comments. Make sure that you engage in the comments and give us a thumbs up. Smashing that thumbs up helps us connect to more things on both our social channels, whether it be anything from Facebook to YouTube, any Meta-owned products, and then, of course, over on the Google side with YouTube. We truly appreciate it. So glad to have you join us. Well, I can't do the show alone. I have to have an amazing co-host, so I'd like to take a moment to welcome the amazing Kristina Werner for joining me. Hi, Kristina. Welcome to the show.
Jeff. Hello. Thanks for having me.
You know, you are what in the industry, in the television industry, they call a get. You are a get in order for to be a host. I mean, a co-host with me. I appreciate it. It means a lot that you said yes.
Oh, well, I'm honored to be here. I love Pink Fresh. I'm excited to use more of it. So it's fun. And I'm excited.
Yeah.
I don't know if you already mentioned that we're going to be breaking out some of the new ink colors that just came out. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, well, it's a special day, and we already know we might go a little bit long. So if you can't join us for the full hour, hit pause, come back, and watch the rest of the replay. But today's technique may take just a little bit of time. There's drying in between each of our faux dip dyes. So that's exciting. And I don't want to go to the desktop right away because I want to remind everybody that Christina was one of the very first craft personalities to actually engage and reach out to me. Keeping it short and simple, most of you know that I work at the Walt Disney World Resort, where we see a lot of people come and visit us versus me getting out across the nation. So, Christina, you were traveling, right? You were doing a race with our Run Disney program.
Well, technically, it was my friend that I was visiting with. She
Okay.
was doing the race, but I was there just to cheer her on. But it was my very first visit to, well, that area of Florida, really. I had never even been to that area of Florida. So it was really fun. And I mentioned it on Instagram. And the next thing you know, this strange guy's like reaching out to me on Instagram. And I'm like, who is this? And I'm so glad I took a chance and met up with you while I was there because you're just a delight. And you were sort of new to the crafting world.
I agree.
So it was fun to see things through your eyes and kind of just get your perspective on things. And you probably remember this, I don't know, but the friend that I was with, she's a drama teacher at our old high school. And so you have an entertainment and like theater background. So you really connected on that level. So it was fun. It was just a really fun trip.
Yeah, it was a fun trip and a start of a really great friendship. And I now have the option of having a personal connection with you. We've had options of traveling together, going on fun vacations, or events for companies. And oh my goodness, it's been nice not only to meet you as the woman of the world that you are, but as the mentor and the friend. It's just meant so much to me. So to have you on the show today means the world.
Absolutely. Right back at you, Jeff. Love you.
Well, great. So you know that one of my favorite techniques that you've ever done, you introduced several times, both on your personal channels and in online card classes, but I got it through online card classes, and that is this stunning use, simple but stunning use and effective use of a drip dry technique that you saw somewhere else, I want to remember, and you said, I can duplicate that in a card background. Tell everybody what we're making today.
Yeah, so we're gonna start out with something really, really easy. We're just gonna ink blend with the new inks. We're just gonna get to know the inks. And then we're going to create a second background with the faux dip dye technique. Dip dye kind of comes from the stationery world where people have they'll have a tub of actual dye, like liquid dye, and they do a series of dips with their paper into the dye. And each time they put their paper into the dye, it gets a little bit darker and darker and darker until you have kind of like these steps of color going down your entire background. And it's stunning.
Yes,
And I thought, you know what, we could totally do that with watercolor. Of course, it takes longer because, we're not just dipping it into the color. It takes a little longer, but you get a very similar look. And it can be as involved or as simple as you want it to be. So we're gonna try to keep it fairly simple today, and we're gonna use the Pink Fresh inks for that too. I think I might have done this with distress inks in the past, but I don't think I've ever done it with like a traditional dye ink. So this should be really fun.
Yeah, and really beautiful. Let's go to our desktops, Christina. As you can see, the colors are out. They're available online for you to see. Nothing is more fun than swatching. Christina just got hers, but laid out and ready to go. And I just want you to remind yourself of all of those colors and how they play well with each other. These 24 new certainly connected the rainbow for Pink Fresh and showcased a brand new way of working together, and it's worth checking out. Today, I'm going to be pulling some new blues, the new lining green, and maybe if I'm inclined, I'll head over into that pink section of the spectrum. What spectrum are you heading into? You got some purples there. What else?
I'm going to do sort of some autumn colors. I'm in that autumn phase. Like I'm ready for Halloween and Thanksgiving and all that. And I jump pretty heavily into Christmas right after Halloween, and I kind of miss some of that Thanksgiving time. So I'm doing it right now while I can. So these are going to kind of be some more Thanksgiving colors. Oh, I'll tell you what they are. I've got mango sorbet, eucalyptus, mulberry blush, bay leaf, and hydrangea. I might not use bay leaf. We'll see how it goes, but mine are a little more kind of colors all over the board.
And then the sets we'll be using today are the Secret Garden set and which is a beautiful cover plate that we did pre-show to save some time. As you can see, those are ready to go. We'll talk about those in just a few minutes. And then also the Thanks for Being There stamp set, which is also featured in the show. We've got some paper ready to go, etc. But Christina, I'm going to hand it over to you, and I'm going to try my darndest to keep up and do the technique that I know I dream about. Go ahead.
No worries. Okay, so we're going to start out with just some simple ink blending. We're easing into this today. So I have chosen to work on a 5x7 piece of regular white cardstock. And I chose this size specifically so that when it comes to gluing down this really intricate die cut, we're not going to have to be really careful when we've got the glue on the back and we're trying to rush and get it on there. We can just stick it on there, let it dry, and then we're just going to use our trimmer or a craft knife to make it look like we got it on there just perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this background down here. I don't know if you've got a pencil or a pen nearby, but I'm just going to make some little marks so I know kind of an idea of my spacing here so that I don't worry. So I don't take colors like, a lot's going to get cut off. I don't want to cut off the most beautiful parts of my blending. So I'm just going to kind of keep it in the back of my mind that the blends don't have to go above or below these lines. But this will just make it easier for us to put later.
Great.
So I'm going to use blending brushes today. I like to have a brush for each color I'm using. It just makes it a little bit faster, a little bit easier to move along. But you definitely don't have to have a brush for every single color, especially since we're going to be blending these so they kind of mix into each other. But do what you got to do, whatever works.
Great.
So I'm going to do, what were you going to say?
I was just saying great. I'm excited.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do a blending where it's kind of like the colors are coming in from different sides and different corners, just because I've got so many different colors that I want to blend together. What are you going to do? Are you going to do more of like a linear gradient, or what do you want to do?
I'm going to follow you at first since we're not doing the watercolor right now. I'm using sage, eucalyptus, some spruce, and maybe not lush, or dropping out one of them because I don't know if all of them are needed. So we'll see.
Okay.
Is
I'm
this
starting
your
out with mango sorbet.
Okay.
What? Go
I was
ahead.
wondering what degree that was, but I can look on my sheet here and see.
Oh, like in their kind of like a color saturation or
Yeah.
whatever. So this one is the second one down. But you could really, when you're doing blending like this, you can start with whatever color you'd like. And when I do blending like this, I kind of get going and then get a feel for how dark the color is. And when you're ink blending, it's pretty forgiving. So I don't worry about it too much.
Now, did you want this on the watercolor paper or the
Nope, I'm just on a regular
Oh,
cardstock.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to add, well, I guess you could add water to this if you want, but I didn't plan on adding any water to this particular background. We're keeping it really simple just for this first background. I thought it'd be kind of fun to keep it simple for this one. You know, if people want to recreate what we're doing and they'd rather not break out all the water and stuff, they don't have to. They can do some simple ink blending and really get those colors down for a beautiful background.
Great.
I love doing stuff like this because especially once we put that cover die that we've cut out in advance, once we put that on top, it's going to be so forgiving. We don't have good blending or we don't like certain mixes of colors. It's not a big deal. It's probably not going to show too much. So it's a great technique for this. Okay, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to do a little bit of the red. I'm just going to bring that in. Oh, that's a really pretty autumn red. Mulberry blush. That's going to be great for Christmas cards too, like a deep, almost cranberry, but not quite. It's a little more muted. I like that. That's going to be really pretty for Christmas.
Christina, tell me about your thoughts on like the craft room. You worked so hard at getting it all set. Are you loving your craft room?
I do. I love my craft room. I love it even more after I've cleaned it, but sadly, it's not clean at the moment. I think most crafters can relate to the struggle of keeping things organized and clean when all you really want to do is just create. Some really love the cleaning process and they really get into it, but I am not that gal. I find cleaning and organizing happens the best for me when, I'm not as inclined to craft. Like I just want to touch my supplies and kind of see what they're doing. And then I start to organize and it kind of brings me back to wanting to craft again. So when I'm not feeling inspired, I will do a lot of cleaning and organizing. So, but I do love it. This is kind of like my second big girl craft room. I had about 10 years of not really having a dedicated crafting space. And then in my previous home, built out the craft room. I crafted out of that room for a few years before I actually built it out, did some custom things to it. And then when I got married and I moved to this current home, that was when I had learned from my previous craft room. And each time you kind of reorganize your crafting space, it gives you the opportunity to make some changes, mix things up. I think my best idea of the thing that I love the most in this new craft room I'm in is I have a sink. I've always wanted a sink. I do a lot of watercolor painting and things like that, like we're going to do today. And it's just been so nice to have a sink to go grab some water or to clean off a stencil really quick or anything like that. It's been really, really great to have that convenience.
Yeah,
So,
really.
I love my little sink.
It has helped for me to be so close to our secondary bathroom for that very reason. I'm going to pretend it's just like your need there that you have it.
For sure. So, Jeff, do you decorate for Halloween at your house?
Yes. In fact, you can check out the latest online. We're all set to go. We have our amazing pumpkin tree is currently up and lit up, and it's a bunch of pumpkins suspended in the air throughout the tree, and they have lights in them that make the pumpkins flicker.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
heard that there is a big thing where, and by the way, no one look at my ink blending. I've never professed to ink blend as well as the master. So the ombre technique is going to be where I hopefully shine a little bit more. But what I love is the kiddos in the neighborhood just get so excited. And just to tell a quick story really quick, so you don't have to look at that horrible blotchiness, is that I was outside and sweating. It's never fall weather here in Orlando. And I'm in the tree hanging up these lanterns individually, these pumpkin lanterns. And this mom van pulls up, and the mom doesn't roll down the window. The back window rolls up, and all I see is this little thumb, and this little girl's voice says, "Like your decorations." And then the mom drove
Oh
off.
my word,
I
that's
was
so
like, this
cute.
makes it worth everything. So that was great.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever decorated for Halloween. I think the most I've ever done is put out like a different doormat. I think I have one that said like "boo to you" or something. But I mean, years ago at my old house, like my mom, when she retired, she moved from Arizona where she had been working for many years, and she moved back to Utah, and she moved in with me since we were both single gals at the time. And we were like, you know what? Some of our greatest memories from the house that I grew up in, like it's the house my parents brought me home from the hospital to. And I lived there until I went off to college. So it was a long, long time. And there was this amazing family down the street, and they had so much fun at Halloween. They did what was it, hot cocoa and donuts, like full on donuts, and they were like homemade donuts. And they just put them at the end of their driveway, and everyone could come by and get a donut and hot cocoa. And we thought that was so fun. So we were like, let's do that. Like, my old house had this really nice big front porch. So we set up a table and some chairs, and we got the little tiny like espresso to go cups from Costco, just so it was little amount of liquid, so people don't have to, have this whole big cup that they're walking around while they're trick or treating. And we did apple cider. We decided to do apple cider instead of hot cocoa, because that
Oh,
was a
so
little
much
more
fun.
fallish. Yeah, we mixed like pre-made apple cider like in a big jug. And then we also got like this apple cider mix from, I think they're a Utah company. It's Stevens. They do a lot of hot cocoa. I know Kathy Zilski's obsessed with Stevens hot cocoa. And so we got their mix, and we kind of like made our own concoction. And then probably for about, I guess it was 6 or 7 years at my old house, we were like the apple cider and donut house on Halloween. So many people came by. It was a really young neighborhood with lots of young families. So tons of kids coming by, and we were that apple cider and donut house. But we did learn a lesson. We did donut holes. After the first year, we did full donuts, but it was like too much, like for them to carry around, because you really just want like a bite of something, and then so you can move on. But with a donut, it was like they had to hold it, and it was just a little more cumbersome. So smaller cup, and also donut holes. That was the way to go. So we might try that this year. We don't know. We're not really sure. We've got some travel right before Halloween, and we might not be up for it. So we'll see what happens. But that was a really, really some fun memories. I'm loving this color combo you've got going, Jeff. That looks great.
Oh, I think you're being very generous. I did not plan this, everybody. I'm just going to go ahead and share. I was texting the moderator chat, and I said, I need a third color, and I don't know how to do this. So, friends, I did not plan out my colors very well, but Christina is being very, very sweet. I will kill it in the
Do you
ombre.
have a yellow?
Yeah, let me pull out one of the yellows.
Yeah, I used bay leaf, and that was kind of like a nice goldeny yellow, but you've got some brighter colors going, so you might not want to do bay leaf. I don't know, I'm sure. But I mean, I'm thinking you could do a yellow kind of in between the blue and the green off to the edge,
Got it.
like in that bottom corner.
Sorry, everybody. Ombre is gonna
No worries.
super fun, and we'll.
Oh yeah, that brightens up the green too. I love that.
Very generous. Thank you, everybody. I don't even want to look at the comments. I am not a good ink blender, especially on camera, but we will frame this perfectly with that cover plate and get it going
Oh, I
correctly.
think you're gonna love it. I think you're gonna love it, especially once you've got that cover plate die on top. It's really gonna let those colors come through. I'm really loving the splotchiness. I know you were probably hoping for something smoother, but I kind of love it.
I'm really loving your poor tap offs that you should be doing, especially at how long you have been crafting, but that's very sweet.
No, I like it because it's very organic.
Let's try to blend it out and then we will move on because you are right. If we don't, then we'll, but that was my favorite line ever. That's awesome.
I think it's awesome. And if these are like water reactive inks, like because they're a dye ink. So if you wanted to like splatter some water on there, you definitely could. It'd give it a little bit of a different look.
Okay, got it. Let's do that and see if that helps, and then we will get these cleaned up. Oh, that's me. That's not.
I'm gonna keep mine kind of the way it is, but I really want to see yours with some ink, like some water splatter on it.
Okay, great.
Do you do a lot of like water splatter on stuff, or is this new to you?
This is all very new to me. I stay away from ink blending. I'm a little intimidated by it. So that means I don't practice it very often. And I should to, get a little more confident.
That looks great. I'd stop there.
Okay.
Did you have a paper towel nearby or a rag or something?
Yep.
And then just like place it right on top and let it kind of absorb and then like pull it off in one piece. Yeah. I love that. It looks like it kind of bleaches it a little.
Yeah, and then what we can do is just frame it perfectly to make sure that we are lined up perfectly.
Ink blending could be pretty forgiving, especially if you're going to like cover it up with something. So I think it's going to be gorgeous.
Great. All right.
I'm just putting my inks back in their little 4-packs so that I don't lose them. I love that they're like in these like light, medium to dark kind of spectrums. I love that. So great. But it's not like it's like sometimes companies can do just like the same tone of color and then they just lighten it. But these have like a little bit of a different, like this one gets a little pink at the bottom, which I think is awesome. It's like a good difference. So it's kind of fun. I love that. All right. When you're ready, we're going to glue down our little dies. So I did one in gold. Okay. For first of all, we have to tell you what we did beforehand. We die cut this die multiple times, 3 layers deep for each one of these, just because we wanted, well, I wanted them to be more substantial on my cards. And they do take a little bit of time to die cut and glue together. So we did that beforehand to save us a little bit of time. And yeah, Jeff, what were you okay, so we have to back up. Jeff had a little trouble getting this huge plate to cut. Yep. And we discovered you need a shim. You need like some extra cardstock, right?
Absolutely. And in fact, that was the game changer because, we've all been impressed with the Empress and it has a lot of great, reviews about it. And I've always had no issue with it. The game changer was to add just a slight shim. But Christina was noting, and I totally agree, is that it can, this particular one could only tolerate about 1 extra piece of paper as a shim, right, Christina?
Yeah. And then just with that 1 extra piece of paper, it was just enough to get a really good cut. So it was perfect. I went a little ham crazy and I put 3 sheets and I have never seen my die cutting machine struggle so much. And I was like, oh crap, don't break the die cutting machine right before going live on YouTube. Yeah, that would just be my luck, right? Don't do it. So
So
Anyway,
a little more easier on myself. As you all can see, you can really find some, and that's what Christina was asking, is to do a larger piece of paper so that you would have the ability to really find the sweet spot of colors and to avoid
I
that
think that looks
splotching.
gorgeous.
Yeah. So Christina, are we
That is such a
down?
trend. Yeah, we're gluing it down. And I love how that turned out. Especially with the little water droplets and stuff.
Yeah, it somewhat saved itself. I'm okay with being a little more critique driven, and I think that helps you grow when you get good feedback. But I learned some lessons there, which is good. Hope everybody's doing.
Totally.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that before we know it, you're gonna be an ink blending machine. And you're gonna be doing all your backgrounds. You're gonna be doing galaxy backgrounds. I know it. I can see it in your future.
So Christina, speaking of, one of the things that when you vacation with Christina, and it does not at all step into her ability to be social or connective to friends while you're vacationing, but you, just like any good knitter or crafter, you will work on your deadlines and designs for Simon Says Stamp and the work that you do on the side. And you think about it as it's sort of like your way of keeping your hands busy, which I love. But just like I was being really critical of my blending technique, how are you critical on yourself? So let's pretend like you feel like something went really well when you were creating it. You submitted it to the company, it got approved, it's a manufacturer. Do you reflect back and are you critical, or do you let things go after they've made it all the way to the consumer?
There have been a few things over the years where I'm kind of like, oh, I wish I would have changed that. Just a few things. Well, oh my word, I graduated from college like almost 20 years ago. Oh wow, I suddenly feel really old. Anyway, so I have been in like the graphic design illustration world for nearly 2 decades. And I've learned over that time that little niggling feeling of like, oh, I need to change that, to really listen to those before I hand it off to the manufacturer to have it made. Because it's those little tiny that little voice that says, oh, I should change that. That's like my critical eye that I've developed over the years that's really telling me like, hey, make these changes. So I try to catch that in advance. And also something that I do when I'm designing specifically stamp sets is I like to print it out because it always looks different on the computer screen. But when you print it out and you see it like a physical form, you could really like, oh yeah, those lines are too thin or those lines are too thick. And you can kind of just get a good idea of how it needs to be modified. So yeah, I try to catch that before. But the best part of that whole design process is when people actually get it like in their hands and they can start creating with it. And then I can see what they do with it. That's the best part. Because everyone's gonna do something a little different.
Susie, thank you for your nice comment about my panel. I don't know about that, but I'm going to believe in myself a little bit. I appreciate that. We're both getting shout outs for these our colors, which is great. Yeah, we will go with this.
You know what I really love? Okay, on your background, my favorite part is where the red meets kind of that green shade a little bit, and you get a little bit of a purple hint. I love that. Like right there in the center.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
All right.
I love when you discover like those color blends.
Is this a trim? Are we having a trimming moment here or are we waiting?
We are. I'm going to do X-Acto knife and a T-square ruler just because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist like that. But you could definitely use just a paper trimmer, probably faster. But we're just cutting this up perfectly so that it looks like we adhered everything just right. Makes it a little easier when you're trying to adhere that intricate background that has a bunch of glue on the back, and you got to get it on there fairly quick. It's just easier. We're also going to be adhering this to a card front after this. So I've got some pre-folded, ready to go card fronts. What about you, Jeff? Do you prep your like basic white card bases like that, or do you make them as you need them?
Oh no, I pre-prep. I'm a scholar of you and Jennifer. Yes, I pre-prep.
Perfect. So we'll be ready to go. I definitely got that tip from Miss Jennifer McGuire. Sending healing wishes and positive vibes her way. Our
Yes.
crafting queen is recovering from surgery.
And we love that she was able to head out last night and go and attend a son's homecoming game, which is good.
Yeah, that looked fun.
All
Turns
right.
out her son's friend was homecoming king.
What a great night to be there, right?
Yeah.
All right.
All
Let me say hi to
right.
everybody in the chat really quick, and then we will get going. Hey, everybody, you're watching the Craft Hour with Pink Fresh Studio. If you're watching now or on a replay, we appreciate you being here. Special guest Kristina Werner joins me. We are playing with the 24 new inks that are out and about with Pink Fresh Studio. Be sure to check them out. We're so glad that you're here. I see that Isabel is in the comments. Roberta, always, we can't do a show without you. Thank you so much for always being here. Karen, I'm glad that you're loving this and having a great time. Amy, we are so glad that you like both of them. Jennifer, thank you for the nice compliments. Christina and I, of course, are available in the chat of this and all of our social platforms as you get to connect. I know many of you connect with Christina, but if you don't follow me, please feel free to jump over to @Mr. Jeff Lindberg and we'll have some fun. All right, so we have number 1 down here. Keep talking. Let's get back to what we need to do, my friend.
Hey. All right, so I just adhered mine down. I used some just Tombow Extreme adhesive. The name is very apt. It is very extreme. It is stuck down there. You can't move it after you stick it down. So I'm going to use for my greeting, I'm going to use the greetings from the stamp set you showed earlier. This is the thanks for being there. There's some just really elegant greetings down here at the bottom. Now, the flowers are really pretty, and we do have a stencil set that you could use to color the flowers. But I really wanted to do this technique today. So I'm just going to use the greetings, and I'm going to die cut them. I do have the dies. Now, I did notice with these dies that not all of the greetings have dies. So the only, well, you've got, oh, wait, maybe they do. Oh, I didn't see this one in here. Okay, so only the ones that are scripted have the dies. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp both of the large greetings since I plan to use one on the second card today as well. So I'm going to stamp both greetings and die cut them at the same time. Jeff, what greetings do you want to use today?
Well, I will tell you, thanks for teeing that up. I am also going to be doing greetings, but I might hold off because I am going to be making a wedding card for 2 grooms that are getting married. And so depending on the feel of the colors and how they stack up on the card, I might just hold off on which sentiment I use. So we might be looking at your card for the sentiment.
It's all good. That's a good idea, though. Like if you don't want to put a sentiment on your card from your crafting session, just don't put one on, and then you can figure that out later when you need a card for a specific occasion.
Totally. Yep. So that's what I'm doing. This one doesn't scream wedding to me, but just in case, I might wait and see.
Totally. All right. So I'm thinking for this card, it'd be kind of fun to have the greeting embossed in gold. And then the second card, I did do the die cut in gold. So it might be better to have that greeting in black, just so it's not competing too much. So I'm going to do one greeting in black and one in gold embossing. So let's see here. I've got to decide which is which. Got my little stamp set. I think I'm going to do the grateful for you in gold, and then I'll do the thanks for being there when I needed you the most. Actually, maybe I'll do it the other way around. No, we'll do it. Grateful for you is going to be in the gold. So I'm going to stamp this one first. going to use my anti-static powder tool. Did it walk off? Oh, no, it's right here. Okay, anti-static powder tool. And I'll just stamp in some VersaFine ink. It's my favorite for embossing.
I mean, VersaFine is the way to go.
Did I say VersaFine? I meant Versamark.
Versamark.
But when I do the black, it
And
will
then
be
I
the
repeated
VersaFine. Totally. But, you know, I will use the VersaFine for the black later. So you're not far off, or I'm not far off, I should say. All right, I'm using Brutus Monroe Gilded Embossing Powder.
And just a quick shout out. Let me put it on my face while I'm saying this. A quick shout out to Brutus Monroe. Christina introduced me to this company. I think that there are a tremendous amount of strong products that Christopher has, but Not Your Mama's cardstock and his embossing powders are just, I mean, they're the be all for me. And so, yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. If you haven't gotten it, there's an array of great products to use from them. Okay, so Grateful for You is what she's choosing. And, you know, Grateful for You might be a nice wedding sentiment. I don't know if that's necessarily too off the mark. And also, there were some options on there that I think could work as well. So I probably should have done it with Christina, but there you go. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, I muted myself so you wouldn't hear the heat tool while Jeff was talking, but I do. Yes, I love Brutus Monroe embossing powders. They're awesome. I love their gilded color because it's gold without being, it's like the perfect mix of like a champagne and a very yellow gold. It's like right there in the middle. It's just really nice. It matches pretty well with the gold matte cardstock that a lot of companies have. It matches pretty well. So I really like that one.
And I was also thinking that smile, there's a beautiful smile that would be perfect as well for the
Absolutely
wedding occasion. Smile indeed.
All right, I'm going to do this other one just in black since then I can die cut both at the same time. So this time I will be using VersaFine, and it's my favorite kind of black pigment ink, VersaFine Onyx Black. I just always get a really good impression, and I have no complaints ever when I use this black ink. It's just my go-to. I mean, look at that. It's just gorgeous. And of course, I did not wet my stamp chamois. That's okay. I think I've got a baby wipe around here somewhere. There we go. Yeah, we've got some baby wipes.
Christina,
How do you like to clean your stamps, Jeff?
I use Brutus Monroe's products as well with his amazing stamp cleaner. But I also attended the Jennifer McGuire baby wipe committee, so I also do that as well.
Okay, so I have a question. We were texting earlier about when we were die cutting the cover plate.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something about cutting into foam or something that was helpful for getting all the pieces out of the middle or something like that. What was that?
I don't know if that was me, but I know that.
No, it was you. Because then I said, I'll ask you during the live. It was, let me go back to our text messages real quick.
Oh, no, I know what you're talking about.
What you
Yes.
said.
What I was saying is I didn't know if you were saying to take, because you said, I thought you wanted me to dampen this with Versa Mark and then drizzle gold on top of this.
Oh, to make it
pat
gold
it
instead
down.
of cutting gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that Heather does have an amazing video series where she goes through a lot of different options for cutting out intricate dies. So you should be able to check that out in the replays as well.
Okay. Yes, if you did want to make that die cut you've already cut gold, you could smush the VersaMark pad down and then just sprinkle embossing powder on. I think it'd be really pretty. In fact, you could even turn it into a completely different technique and use different colors of embossing powder and do like stripes of color to make the die cut different. That would be really cool. All righty.
The bubble mailer trick is what Heather was synonymous for. Be sure to check it out, everybody. It's the way to go. And everybody, I'm just pre-taping for the ombre drip dry look only because Christina's faster than me. So please don't think we're getting ahead. We're still over where Christina is, but my desktop is just getting prepared for the next thing. And look, there are die sets for you, my friend.
What was that?
There are 2 die sets for you to use there.
Oh, for the greetings. Yeah. I just didn't know if it, because I didn't see that in the middle of this other one, there's one for the smile. There is one. They've got the smile and then the 2 larger greetings. There's dies, just not the smaller ones, the plain type. Okay. You might have to see the top of my head for a moment. Just trying to get all these positioned just right. I love how intricate these dies are, and they cut right up close to the greetings. I love that. All right, run that through my little Anna Griffin Mini Empress. All right. Oh yeah, I love how this cuts out all the interior piece and all that. That's great.
Yeah, perfect for sentiments. It's great.
Okay. We even got a little piece in the middle there. Oh yeah. And then I can just put that right over the top. Like maybe I should have done like black cardstock or something, make it really stand out. But I think that's really pretty, just like that too. Okay. No more die cutting today. All right, I'll worry about that other sentiment later.
Perfect.
And we'll get to all of the dip dye.
Time to dip dye,
so
everybody.
I'm going to use Fabriano Artistico Extra White. And this is cut to 5x7 as well, just for the same reason as the other ink blended background, so that I can adhere the already pre-cut cover plate die. I can put that right on top without trying to be too fussy about placements. So for doing faux dip dye, you want to make sure that you have your paper taped down to something that you can pick up and move around. It's going to help you get the color really moving down toward the bottom of the paper, just using gravity. Perfect tape job, Jeff. Looking good.
And I've measured because just like you said before, you'd want to make sure that you have a good idea of where your cover plate is for an A2
Yeah,
size.
it's especially important for this one because, you know, you want to get that really dark color at the bottom and the really light at the top, and you don't want to have to cut any of that off on the final project. So I'm going to do the same. Just give myself a nice guide for about how far up and far down I need to paint. Okay, so you're going to want a slick surface so you can smush your inks onto. You've got a nice white glass mat, so you can just use straighten your mat. I'm just using a piece of plastic over here. I've used it a ton for stuff like this. And so, but I'm going to tape it down because it can slide around a little.
Now, so that I don't make the same mistakes with color, I'm going to be using the Amalfi Coast line that we created. So to review that we created, please, I had nothing to do with this. I'm just the factor of being able to tell you about it. That sounded so egotistic. I'm so sorry. Okay, so waterfall, turquoise. Turquoise leads to paradise, doesn't it always? And then Atlantis. So Christina, knowing that and knowing how I don't see color as quickly as you, what would you say? Am I splotching? Am I jumping? Am I starting with the lightest? What am I doing here?
You're going to start with the lightest color.
Okay.
And I'm going to do 2 color spectrums. only
Okay.
because I have done similar color combos in the past, and I love it when it goes from like a pale, pale pink to a red and then into like an intense purple. It's beautiful that way. If you're going to stick with all of your blues, yeah, you're going to go just straight from the lightest color to the darkest.
Okay.
And so I'm going to pick out 4 colors as well so that I can do a similar kind of process to what you're doing. So I'm going to start with the lightest, which is cherry blossom. And then I think I'm going to go straight into mulberry blush because I can skip to that darker color pretty well just by mixing them. And then I'm going to have it go, let's see here. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put one more pink in there because I'm not going to need this dark purple until the very end. So I am going to put one more pink in here. I think I'm going to put the peony. So that's my color blend that I'm going to be working with.
That is so Kristina Werner. Look at that gorgeous spectrum.
Right?
Fantastic picks. That's awesome.
It looks familiar because I have done it before.
But it's also so signature you. But look at what the spectrum allowed when Pink Fresh built these out, is that it built out a new color array. Remember, Christina is only using the newest product, so there is no carryover from the old line here, and Amalfi is all brand new as well. Okay.
Yep. So when you're doing faux dip dye, you want to use a fairly large brush. I think Jeff's got a size 8 round. Is that about right? Or maybe even a 10?
This is
even better.
Okay.
Even better. I'm going to use a squared off. Well, maybe I won't.
The squared
is that a silver black velvet brush?
Yes, these are black velvets. Per your recommendation, my friend.
I have the same brush. I will do the same brush.
I have
okay.
I have a 1, 12, or 6 flat or 2 rounds. You want me to keep this 12 round?
Yep, we're gonna go with the 12.
Okay.
You're gonna need a rag or a paper towel.
Okay.
Because this can get pretty wet and drippy.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna start with that lightest color, and you're gonna want like a pretty good like puddle of ink down on your surface. Like, don't be shy. You could always add more later if you need to, but yeah, put quite a bit down. And then we're going to water it down or dilute it quite a bit with just water from our water bucket or containers. You want this to be pretty pale. This is going to be our very first color that we paint. And this is just going to make it a whole lot easier by having a nice big puddle of paint to work with.
Okay.
You want it pretty pale. So the very, very top of our background, we want it to kind of just be white, but we're also like putting that die cut on top that is white, and our watercolor paper isn't perfectly white. So you have an option. If you want, you can kind of skip that top area and just start painting right below it, or you can paint all the way from that top edge. I'm going to be using the gold die cut, so I don't think I necessarily need to use like go all the way to the top, but you've got the white die cut, right?
I am going to use the white die cut. Yep.
Yeah. So I would advise you to, with this really pale blue, go all the way to the top of your paper. Okay. And you're just going to do like a really pale paint all the way to the bottom. And mine's like super, super, super pale because that pink was already really.
Am I redipping these lines? Do I pick up more color? You are picking up more color. Okay.
Yep. I'm picking up lots of color. I've almost used all of mine because I want it to be really saturated as it goes all the way down to the bottom.
I'm remembering this, and this is so much fun, everybody. Yes, watercolors so beautifully. And everyone, just a reminder, if you're a busy Saturday, we fully appreciate the fact that this episode may go a little bit long, but this technique is so worth it. The drying times we're about to do may call for the show to go long. Come back if you have to. If you can't watch the whole show, we completely understand. We just hope that you come back to the show. But yes, please know
Sure.
you're going to go longer than our normal time.
Okay, so we're going to get our heat tools out now, and we need to get this bone dry before we move on. So things you want to watch for when it's dry. Right now, our paper, you might know to see it on camera, maybe a little bit. I can see it on Jeff's camera a little bit. The paper starts to bow up just a little bit over the center, just because the paper is saturated with water. When it's bone dry, you'll see that paper go. It'll just kind of go back to the board.
Okay.
It'll all the way back. And that's how you know it's completely dry. So we're going to use our heat tools. It might take a minute because this is a really big background at the moment. So you guys are going to hear it.
Do
I apologize.
a 1 or a 2 heat, my friend, on this Wagner?
I'm going to go straight to the high, but just keep it moving.
Okay.
Yep.
This is where you all need to talk to Heather for just a few minutes, everybody. She's now going to do a little dance number for us all in between these. And because I do not use painter's tape, we're going to have some tape coming up as well.
Okay, mine's feeling pretty dry.
Me too.
How does yours feel, Jeff?
Me too.
Did it suction all the way back to the board again?
Nicely, it did. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to take that same ink pad and we can just go over that same area again. We're just not going to use quite as much water as we did the last time so that we have a little more intense color.
Okay. And we're going to start.
So maybe just Molly, maybe just dip once. And then you're going to paint, you're going to start a little ways down from what we just painted before. So I'm going to come down maybe like about a ½ inch.
Okay.
And you're going to see that there's a harsh line right up there at the top. We want that harsh line. That's why we dried the previous layer so that we could have that harsh line. In fact, I might not have enough paint here or enough ink. I'm going to have to get more. My little mini pad isn't putting out enough ink. It's definitely easier when you've got a larger pad like Jeff's got. Sometimes you can have a little bit of a shortcut and not paint all the way to the bottom, since we know we're just going to add darker shades anyway. But I kind of like how it really intensifies the color at the bottom when you've got all the layers of color at the bottom.
Remind me what color you're using, because that's beautiful.
This is cherry blossom.
So great. And I'm using waterfall.
Yeah, it's a great color.
All right,
Pretty colors. Okay.
Heat it up.
Yep, we're going to heat this one up. We're moving right along.
Jane, I love that you love this technique. It really is one of my favorite that Christina teaches. When you see the final product, you'll see that you don't even need the cover plate if you didn't want to use it.
Okay. My tape is coming up a little bit since I've got all that heat that I was applying. So I'm just going to press it back down real quick. Okay. So I think I'm ready to move on to the next darker shade. Okay. So my next shade is Peony. I'm going to smush that down onto my surface. Not cleaning my surface or anything because these colors can mix without there being a problem since they're so close.
And I'm headed into turquoise, the next one in the line.
And this one's just like these colors straight off the ink pad. They're going to be a little bit too much. They're like a drastic step. So we're going to dilute this one like we did the first color, the first time we painted with it. Okay. So we're going to add quite a bit of water. Basically, I do like 2 big swishes of my brush in the bucket, and that's about how much diluted I want it. It's a really nice kind of watermelon-y color. It's peony, but it's kind of watermelon-y. I love it. All right, so like we did before, we're going to come down from the next line that we just did. But I think what makes it look like faux dip dye is if you have a little bit of a wobbly line, or maybe it's a little bit at the diagonal, like you've dipped your paper not evenly. So I'm going to just kind of come across and have it be a little bit like that. Give it just a little bit of a more organic line. And I think that always looks really nice and kind of lends to that dip dye look.
I'm so glad we're doing this technique. It truly is one of my favorites.
So have you tried it before, or have you just seen it demonstrated?
I tried it during the amazing online card classes, which is one of Christina's companies, her and Jennifer McGuire own. And it was a technique that I just thought was so beautiful, but simple. And you could use it for fall, for holidays. It was a holiday technique that you did a couple of years ago.
So versatile. This is a great one. And I find that sticking to just 1 to 2 colors works great for this. So it's great. All right, we're going to break at those heat tools again. Talk amongst yourself in the chat. We'll be back momentarily.
Friends, I'll share that our moderator in the sky, Heather, is going to start with one of our 2 giveaways. We're so excited to give you a reason to pack all of those cubes that we know you're going to buy. So we are about to enjoy our first of 2 giveaways. Heather will signify in the chat who's going to win, and I can't wait to celebrate the person that she picks.
Okay. Sounds like Jeff is keeping up with the chat while we're drying our stuff, so that's good.
Yeah, we're so excited that Jennifer Martin is getting the 72 box size set of the storage case that Pink Fresh Studio came
is that the winner?
Yeah, that's one of 2. So congratulations to Jennifer Martin. All right.
All right, I've got quite a bit of puddle over here, and I am going to clean it up a little bit. I think there's just a little too much water to put my ink pad directly into it. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit.
Are we
But I
moving
am
on?
going to take that same color, the same color again. We're just not going to dilute it as much.
You got it?
So instead of 2 paint brushes of water, we're just going to do 1.
Okay.
Nice big swish in my bucket. And then I'm just going to get that one. And so we should have a little bit of a more intense color this time. And like we did before, we're just going to start painting it a little bit underneath that previous layer. I think I might have to get a little bit more paint, or maybe I can stretch this to the bottom. We'll see. Like I said, we're going to put the darker shades at the bottom anyway. So if it looks a little splotchy, it's not a big deal. Okay.
And we're going to go ahead and name the second winner just to keep it within the hour in case the winners have to go. We're so excited that Julie has won. Julie Marius, I believe. Julia, you have won the 48 size. So fantastic.
Congrats, Julie.
Yes, Julie Marius. And again, if you've got to go, everybody, just be sure to tune back in on a replay and see how we finish this one. back to the heat gun. Yep, back to the heat gun. I always love how positive everybody is to winners and craft giveaways. Look at all of those. And before you go, everybody, hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're sharing that you're liking the show. We want to make sure that we get plenty of thumbs up in the comments. We always appreciate that. Right. Look at Christina's. Let me get that off of gallery view for just a second so you can see Christina.
Okay, so we're ready for our next layer.
Yes.
I think I'm going to do, because we've still got a lot of space we need to use, so I'm going to do the same color. I'm going to smush it down onto my palette, but I'm also going to take the next color and smush that one together as well. Actually, no, we're just going to go on to the third color, but we'll dilute it.
Okay.
Quite a bit. Yeah, especially because mine's really jumping to a darker shade now.
I was asked in the chat how much longer we think will be. What do you think, my friend?
Maybe 15 minutes.
15, going 15 minutes over, everybody. 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think about 15 will do it. We're moving along pretty quick here now.
Is this a double saturate on this one or just a single?
Double. In fact, I might even throw in a third just because mine's a really big jump. Yours probably isn't quite as big of a jump.
Okay.
But mine's a pretty big jump.
And again, I'm taking it down a little bit.
Yep. Taking it down from that last layer and then all the way to the very bottom. Okay. Wow, these reds are so pretty like this. I love it. It starts to look like a horizon line to me. I think it's just so pretty. Like the desert or something like that.
And I think that that horizon line is what makes it look so, oh, I'm sorry, the changing of the brushstroke is what makes it look so horizon-like.
Okay. So I'm going to add, well, I'll wait till Jeff catches up. But basically, we're just going to continue on with the same kind of order of things that we've been doing to try to get these colors to like gradually get darker as they go down the card or the background, I should say. So we're going to take that same color we were using before, our step 3 out of 4. And I'm just going straight down, adding more. And then we're not going to dilute it quite so much this time so that it's a little bit more intense. And then come in and paint the next layer. Mine might have been a little too diluted that time. We'll see. All right. More drying.
More drying.
More drying. Here we go. Okay. The trick to really making this work well is you have to make sure that every layer is completely dry before you add another layer on top. I've taught this technique multiple times here on YouTube and also in classes. And a lot of times when people struggle with this particular technique, it's because they have not let it dry. And when you just paint it right over the top when it's already wet, you don't get this like really like harsh line where the colors change. And that's really what's signature of this look. Okay, I'm hardly adding any water to this ink this time. And I'm just gonna put it right underneath. There we go. Now we're getting some intense color.
So go in one more time with this before we head to the final.
Yeah. In fact, on this last one, we might mix the colors just so we can get, a couple more steps to kind of get it all the way to the bottom. Okay, time for that heat tool again.
Tool time. And friends, places like TJ Maxx and Home Goods have great boards like this at very, very quick and easy prices for you to grab. And a clipboard. Christina has a paint board that she uses. This was from TJ Maxx that I bought.
Okay. So we're going to go on to the darkest color out of the 4 we picked out. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the puddle I've got going and put my darkest color, which is Opulence. I'm going to put that right down into it. We do want to dilute this one quite a bit. So I'm probably going to do two paint brushes of water to dilute this, because I'm jumping from like one color to another pretty drastically here.
And a quick shout out to my favorite color of the entire release, Atlantis, which is how I'm completing it.
Oh, so
shows
pretty.
a little gray on camera in my studio, but I can't tell you how gorgeous it looks in person. So
is it kind of like almost like a soft navy?
It is a beautifully soft navy. Yep.
Gorgeous. So you notice how mine, even though it's a purple, it is going on almost just like a darker red, just because it's on top of all that red that was painted before. So it really lends itself to a nice blend. Okay. I'm going to take a paper towel and just clean up a little bit on my tape because it's looking a little dangerous. And then once again, heat tool.
Thanks for sticking by with us, everybody. We're a little bit 8 minutes after the hour. We typically only go an hour here on the Craft Hour, hence the title. But this technique, we wanted to demonstrate 2 cards because we were so excited about the color release. We're almost done here. And if you're watching on the replay, thanks for coming back. We appreciate it. Always be sure to engage us, Star of Maze, where you can find Instagram's Kristina Werner, or you can find me at Mr. Jeff Lindberg. And we both are comment positive contributors. We love to hear from you and love to engage with each of you as we connect and make sure that we do to do the thing that we wanted to do with this show, which is to create and connect with Pink Fresh Studio. So excited about that.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to go in with our darkest color. We're going in with our darkest color, and we're going to not dilute it as much this time, so that we can fill in that space. All right, so I'm just going to do one brush worth this time. It's a pretty drastic jump for me. Ew, that looks so pretty.
That'd be great.
Good call on those colors.
So Christina is really driving home the darkest. In fact, sometimes when you use this technique, you bring in a black to it. But as you can
I
see,
do.
Christina is actually contributing that with her darkest purple there, which has that same effect. But I think that is what really sends the piece home, is to have that final intense line that is sometimes achieved by adding something as pure as black. Just like my heart.
Absolutely.
I'm just kidding.
What's that say? I like my eyelashes like I like my heart black or something like that. It's funny. All right, so I think let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. That's gonna be gorgeous.
Perfect, right?
Yep, I'm gonna hit this with my heat tool for our last dry.
I will tell you, I'm going to wait for Christina to really tell me if this is accurate. But one of the other techniques, as you can see, look, we almost have a perfect piece of art just with that, is to shred that bottom piece. And the shredding of the paper tear makes for a beautiful effect too. You do that tear at the top of the piece though, correct? So that we don't tear it now. What we love about it is the color catches into the paper tear, correct?
Yeah, with traditional dip dye, most of the time they have what's called a deckled edge. So it's like that almost like rough, torn looking edge. And so most of the time, if I'm not going to be like having the background be cut to the card like this one will be, I will tear the bottom edge of the watercolor piece and just only tape it on the other three sides to a board. And then you get that very intense, darkest color at the very bottom on that torn edge. And if you need a little more instruction on that specifically, I've got a live on my YouTube channel where I think I went through 4 backgrounds at the same time using that same technique. So you could just look up like Kristina Werner Faux dip dye, and you'll probably see a few different videos from me pop up.
Yeah, that's great.
Or after the fact in the comments, I'll throw in some links.
Great.
Oh, that looks so good, Jeff.
Yeah,
I think it definitely could be a wedding card.
Right? I think so too. Oh my goodness, that horizon line. I know that's not what we're going for, but my goodness, that is boho beautiful. Look at those pink fresh colors coming together. And Christina was right, adding that gold on top, just fantastic. Let me take it out of gallery so people can really see that color pop.
The best when you put the gold on top. I think I'm going to have my die cut really slide up to the top so that I don't have quite so much purple at the bottom. I really want some of that white showing through. So I'm going to adhere mine a little more closer to the top.
Great.
Oh, it turned out so good, Jeff.
Yeah, Pink Fresh made this one super easy with these colors. They just work so well together.
Yeah, it's a great, it makes the technique a little easier because you can like have that as a kind of like a, what's the word? Almost like a shortcut to getting the correct color kind of intensification as you work down the spectrum.
Yeah, they take the work out for you. You know, so many things that I compliment Pink Fresh for is also in their stencils, which we didn't get a chance to do a stencil today. But the stencil also makes you look like a pro because they do the guesswork for you. And now with these new colors added to the spectrum and how they all work with each other and line up in color order, it really does help you make quick, good decisions, even if you're not color confident.
Absolutely. And it's great for stamping when you've got like layered stamps or, sometimes you're just looking for like, I love that color. I just wish it was a little lighter, or I wish it was a little darker. And having them in these groupings works really well. What glue are you using, Jeff?
I am a Barely Arts boy.
Oh, okay.
Pour it into a smaller bottle, but yeah, I'm a huge Barely Arts. And then Gina K is also in my often used. How about you?
I'm using Honeybee Connect Glue.
Okay.
I've been using it for a long time. I find that it has just enough fluidity, and it has a good stick, so it doesn't slide too much, but it still gives you that little bit of wiggle room to kind of move things around. I just really like how it works, and it's in a little bit of a wider bottle. Get a little more glue in it, as opposed to some of the other glue bottles out there, which I love. Okay, here we go. Put that down. Then I put a big acrylic block, and then 2 handmade kindness paperweights. That'll hold it down.
And
but that's a good idea for the stamp press.
Using Pink Fresh's stamp press, which matches perfectly to
right
the
here too.
ink cube holders, which we're excited about too.
Yeah, I just need something flat to like really hold it down.
I don't know if
I'm so
will
excited for your card.
If I don't stamp paper to paper, that's the one thing I can't do. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, was it stuck to it?
Yeah, don't do that technique, everybody. That is not one.
All right, so now we're getting out our paper trimmers or whatever we want to use to cut this up. That'll just be a really quick adhering it to a card front, adding back the greetings on, and then we'll be done. So for 2 cards in about an hour and 20, not bad at all. Of course, we did do quite a bit of prep work. We did do our cover plates first. But I mean, that's something that's, maybe if you're not feeling particularly creative at the moment, you could just die cut a bunch of cover plates and have them on hand and ready to go for when you are feeling a little bit more creative. I do that a lot when I just, I want to play with paper, but I don't necessarily want to make anything,
Sure.
Like you can stamp images to color. You can die cut a bunch of things. Oh, I love that gold. That's so pretty. The gold with the faux dip dye in the background. Looks so good.
And here's mine.
Oh, I love it. It's so dramatic.
Yeah, I think it's going to work well for 2 gentlemen in their wedding. So I'll look forward to finding the perfect sentiment for that. And of course, Christina and I will post ours online so you can see the finished products. We will proof our work. Christina can kind of show you what hers is looking like because she did the sentiment. So we'll jump over to her real quick.
Oh, and I'm just running out of tape runner adhesive right at the last moment. Oh no, it came back. Okay, good. Whew. Okay. I'm like that, of course, on the very last bit of the card, you have to like put your refill in. Isn't that how life is? Okay, so I just got my 2 little greetings. Just trying to decide, do I want to do that one right there, or do I want to do it with the gold? I don't know. I think I'm going to swap them.
I think you should.
I was planning on having. Yeah, I'm going to swap it so it'll be more like that. I love that.
Much better.
Yeah.
Kristina Werner, come face forward and we will say goodbye to these folks. They've been nice to hang out with us. Absolutely. And our poor moderator, she signed up for her Saturday and she's like, can we wrap this up? That'd be great. She didn't say that.
We only went 20 minutes over. We only went 20 minutes over. I promise. It was worth it.
It was worth it. I mean, look at these two beautiful cards. I wish the lighting in my studio was a little bit better. Let's do it near the
Oh,
window just a little bit.
so good.
Great. Christina
So good.
Werner.
And I'll get my sentiments on and then we'll share some photos later.
Yeah. I got to tell you, my friend, from day one, you've stuck by me. And then today in the show, you stuck by me. I so appreciate you and your friendship and your constant guidance and the sisterhood.
My honor.
My way. So thank you so much. This was the Craft Hour, everybody. Be sure to give us a thumbs up. And of course, you already know Christina. But if you don't, you should be following her and you should be engaging and connecting with her. And if you don't follow me, be sure to do so. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend, everybody. And have a great time using these brand new weeks with Pink Fresh Studio.
Happy Saturday.
Bye, everybody.